Is from Peggy Gundal from Boston. Swamiji, from reading various books on Vedanta, I understand that Tatvamasi means I am Brahman. I repeat that phrase during my daily meditations. However, a Christian would never say, I am Jesus Christ. How can we Vedantins say Tatvamasi in this life, knowing that there is only one universal and unchanging Brahman, while we ourselves are continually changing?
So Peggy is asking that she includes Tatvamasi, that thou art. Although that is an instruction given by the guru to the student, so when you do it for yourself, you would rather say something like Aham Brahmasmi, I am Brahman. But anyway, the point is taken. You are that absolute reality. She includes it in her daily devotional prayers. But how could you say that? A Christian, she says, a Christian, for example, wouldn't say, I am Jesus Christ. And we, changing, finite beings, and we know that there is an infinite, unchanging God. How can we say we are that God? It's a flat-out contradiction. So yes, a good question. These are two distinct ways of spiritual life, of philosophy, of spiritual paradigms. The paradigm of knowledge, jnana, and the paradigm of devotion, bhakti. These are distinct. The paradigm of devotion, it begins with faith that there is a God. We believe in such a God, and we have faith in this God. And this God, as Peggy says, is eternal, unchanging, omnipresent, omniscient, all the omnis. Yeah? We are apparently very small. We have a birth and a death. If you are a Hindu or a Buddhist or a Jain or a Sikh, we have many births and deaths, but still very limited. We go through this life as individuals. And so how can we say we are that or I am that? The answer is you cannot. And you shouldn't. Not that Peggy is wrong in including Tatvamasi in her practice, but these are two different paradigms of spiritual life. One is a bhakti paradigm based on faith. How do you know that there is such a God? Notice one thing. This God that we speak about, eternal, omnipresent, omniscient, unchanging, it's a matter of faith for us. We have been told that there is such a God. We have read that there is such a God. Our culture tells us, our people we revere, gurus and saints have told us. And so we believe. Maybe we want to believe also. So we do believe. But notice that you don't know the way. What do I mean by know? The way you know that you exist right now. Do you know that God exists in the same way? Is it an absolute fact for you? No, it isn't. That's why there are people who can believe in God, who may not believe in God, who may believe in a God in a particular way, another person may believe in God in another way. So all these possibilities are there because God is a belief, is a matter of faith. No less real for that, but still a matter of faith. So this is one approach in spiritual life. The theistic religions of the world, Christianity, Islam, Judaism, Zoroastrianism, and within Hinduism, a wide variety of theistic streams are there. Vaishnavism, Shaktaism, Shaivism, and so on. God-centered, faith-based. So much so that in the United States, religion is called faith, belief, believing in something. One might say, yes, that's it, right? No, that's not it, not all of it. There is something else also. In India, from ancient times, we have known that there can be entirely a different kind of spirituality, a self-inquiry based spirituality. For example, Buddhism doesn't believe in God, doesn't speak about God. Jainism doesn't believe in God, doesn't speak about God. Sankhya, part of Orthodox Hinduism, doesn't believe in God, doesn't speak of God. And these are very ancient traditions. Buddhism goes back more than 2,500 years. And already Jainism was an elder contemporary of when Buddha was born. Jainism was already there. Then Sankhya. Swami Vivekananda called Kapila, the founder of the Sankhya philosophy, called him the first philosopher of the human race. So all that ancient. All right. Now, a Christian who's firmly in the God-centered approach, a God-believing approach, faith approach, definitely would not say, I am Jesus Christ. That doesn't make sense. Clearly, you see yourself as a person. You don't see yourself as an incarnation of God. There in Christianity, there are strands of non-dual thought. For example, the famous I and my Father are one. Jesus Christ saying that. But in Christian theology, that is interpreted as Jesus can say that Jesus and his Father are one. You can't say it. You can't say I and my Father are one. So those are devotional religions, theistic religions, faith-based religions, God-centered religions. There is another approach, which is the self-enquiry-based religion, which is a very different kind of approach. One must first appreciate it. I believe in God, one sentence. Tat Tvamasi, you are that, another sentence. But they are not the same kind of sentence. Swami Atmapriyananda, whom some of you have seen here, he told us this story about when he became a monk. He was initiated into monasticism. At that time, our president of our order and the guru was Swami Gambhiranandaji, long time back, decades ago. And the day they took, he and his batchmates, when they became monks, they took the vows of monasticism, sannyasa. So somebody, they are given what is called the Mahavakya. I am Brahman, Aham Brahmasmi. And somebody asked a question to Swami Gambhirananda. So this Aham Brahmasmi, how many times are we supposed to repeat it every day? And the Swami's reply was laconic. It is meant for realization. It is not meant for repetition. Pointing to something, a vast gulf of difference between these two approaches. The approach of believing in something and the approach of realizing, knowing, seeing something for yourself. All right. Another example, again from Swami Atmapriyanji, he told us this. He said one of his Vedanta teachers, Swami Mukhyananda, whom we have also seen, he was a very revered senior monk of our order, a great Vedanta scholar. In order to explain the difference between these two kinds of sentences. What is a sentence? A sentence of doing something, believing something, that's one kind of teaching. A sentence about knowing yourself, another kind of teaching. To explain the difference, the Swami in class, with the monastic novices, brahmacharis sitting in class. So the Swami who had I also remember him this way, with this long beard and a high-pitched voice, and a very old school monk. He with this high-pitched voice, he said, the grass is green! And all the young monks, they looked puzzled. They looked out of the window. Yes, the grass was green, but so what? The grass is green! And everybody looked puzzled. And after some time, he said, don't you understand? They shrugged. I guess it's true. The grass is green, but so what? Get me a glass of water. And immediately a number of young monks stood up and said, yes, we'll go. Fools, sit down. So they sat down. See, this is one kind, an instruction for a practice, something to be done. Get me a glass of water. Easily understood, can be easily executed. Grass is green is not like that. It's not something to be done. It's something to be known. It's a statement of fact. You are Brahman. You are one with the Absolute. That thou art Tattvamasi, Aham Brahmasmi, is like that grass is green. Only the grass is green is a statement about the grass and sort of inconsequential. I mean, it's good. We are happy that the grass is green, but here it is about you. And it does not seem to be true. I am the Absolute. It does not seem to be true, but it is something to be realized. So when the teacher says, you are Brahman, Tattvamasi, what do you do with that? The next part of Peggy's question is, But we are ever changing, we are small, limited, God is unchanging. Let's stay with that just a little bit. When I say I am small, I am changing, changing means I am born and I change throughout life and one day I'm going to die. Let's stay a little bit with that. In the path of knowledge, what we'll be told is, take a close look at your own experience of life. Our life consists of a series of experiences. We see, hear, smell, taste, touch. And notice, what we see, what we hear, it keeps changing. It keeps changing. You are the same. Throughout the day, you see so many things. You hear so many things. Right now, you're on the freeway listening to the sounds of the traffic and the rainfall outside. Now you're here listening to this talk. What you're listening to is changing, but you have not changed. What we see, what we hear, smell, taste, touch, that keeps changing. So what we see, hear, smell, taste, touch, that keeps changing. Our experiences keep changing. But you must admit that you are the same. You're the same one who came on the freeway, and you're the same one who's sitting here. You did not change. At this point, Peggy might say that, but we do change, Swami. Well, we have changed from childhood to teenage, to youth, to middle age, and so on. But isn't that the body? Isn't that also something that we experience? That the child's body, being a teenage person, being a young person, being a middle-aged person, isn't this also part of our experience? This is part of our changing experience. Our thoughts. Yes, our thoughts change so much. I used to think in one way, now I think in another way. My interests were different, now my interests are different. So I have changed. But your interests have changed. Your thoughts have changed. If you change, look at it this way, I and thoughts. If the thoughts changed and I also changed with that, I wouldn't have been able to say that my thoughts have changed. I am the one who noticed a shift in my attitudes, desires, understanding. Therefore, my attitudes, desires, understanding changed. The body changes. From birth to childhood to teenage to youth to middle age. The mind changes. Our knowledge changes, increases or decreases. Our attitudes change. Our moods change. Our memories change. But notice, there is something that experiences all these changes. And the claim is, that does not change. You might ask at this point, yes, but what does it have to do with me? You are that unchanging one awareness. Notice what we think of ourselves. When Peggy says, but I have changed. I am a changing, small, changing person. This is a combination of that unchanging awareness and a changing body-mind. This is what Peggy thinks of herself as. That's what we all think of ourselves as that. As this awareness with a changing body-mind, with changing personality. So the path of knowledge, this other path of spiritual life, it asks us to take a close look at our own experience of life and discover the unchanging aspect there itself. There's an advantage to this. I pointed out in the path of faith, in the path of belief, this God, unchanging God which we are talking about, which Peggy is talking about, it's clearly a matter of belief. You don't experience it. It's not a matter of fact right now. But this unchanging awareness which is being pointed out, which is being discerned, this is a matter of fact. It's not a matter of belief. If you think it's a matter of belief, then you have not understood yet. You have to again pay attention. At every step in this path of knowledge, we proceed on the basis of already available experience and reason. Something is pointed out to us again and again and again. When we discover this one unchanging awareness which we are, this consciousness, Then the next step, I will not go into those steps now, but in Vedanta you will see. The next step is to see that as bodies and minds, as persons, we may be all different. We are. But as that one unchanging awareness, we are actually not different. It's a lot of philosophy in there, but we are led to see the oneness in consciousness. And finally, we are led to see that one consciousness experiences life, waking, dreaming, deep sleep, this physical universe, this universe of our own thoughts and feelings and memories, and the blankness of deep sleep, all of it appears, plays around and disappears in that one consciousness which we are. And what is experienced by that one consciousness, the objective universe, is actually not different from that consciousness. It is that one consciousness appearing to itself as its own object, not distinct from itself, not a countable second. Not a countable second apart from that one consciousness is non-dual. So this one non-dual consciousness is called Brahman. Why am I saying all this? This is the meaning of that thou art. The Upanishad is saying, "Oh Peggy, you are that one non-dual Brahman." Right now, all the time, everywhere, and here and now, you are that. As a matter of fact, like the grass is green. There is a distinction between this and other spiritual paths. In the path of yoga, the first sutra, Yogas Chitta Vritti Nirodha. Yoga is cessation of the mental modifications. Stilling the mind in samadhi is yoga. It's an instruction, something to be done. But the Upanishadic, "you are that," is not an instruction. It's not even, as Peggy might have thought, it's not even a kind of positive affirmation. I am Brahman, I am Brahman. That's cool. You might think that you are Brahman, but that's not the point of it. Just as grass is green is not an affirmation. It's a noticing a fact. This is equally noticing a fact. This is the royal road, the road of the Upanishads, the so-called direct path.